We are going to take a look at my resume, which got me interviews at Google, Facebook, ADN in Amsterdam, um, Amazon, Kareem, Uber, and many more places. But if you just write the city or country, suppose you're applying in Amsterdam, you can just write Amsterdam, Netherlands, and have a phone number. Either you can have a friend's phone number, or you can. There are many tools to have a foreign phone number. You can just have that phone number. And what do you do other than that? Do you write blogs? Do you do competitive programming? Do you contribute to open source projects on GitHub? Do you mentor other students? Egoistic, on the other hand, is something like if you say I had been a topper throughout, and if you include all the ranks from all the examinations and all the examination scores, and you write I have never lost a badminton game. I have seen many people making the mistake of copying this from their friends or their seniors. And I also did the same thing when I was in college. I was applying for jobs. I also did the same thing. I am really happy to be here, and I'm really excited to share whatever I can with respect to resume building. And I really think and I really believe that this 1 hour is going to add a lot of value to you guys. And I hope I'm going to do a good job. So, without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start presenting my screen. So, as Purnima already gave a brief introduction about me, my name is Yogita. I work as a SD2 at Kareem, Dubai, and I graduated from Jabalpur Engineering College in 2013. And after that, I started my career as a software engineer. And the journey looks a little bit like this. From JC, I got offer from TCS and Persistent Systems. I was in TCS for some time, around 5 months, and then I moved over to Webyoke, and it is a product based company which is now acquired by a US firm. Then I jumped into a startup called Hansel.io, which is still going strong. I joined there as a core team engineer when the company was just of 8 people. I joined as ninth employee, and now the company is strong with 65 employees. And this year, in the month of February 2020, I moved to Dubai and I started as SD2 in Kareem. Over these years, it has been an exciting journey. There were lots of ups and downs, and obviously, you can see that changing jobs in 4 companies, I have had chance to improve my resume and build resumes, and I have gone through the process of resumes getting rejected and maybe sometimes selected, sometimes rejected, and it took me some time to figure out how you can actually provide information about yourself in your resume, and so that the recruiters actually are able to notice you and not just pass your resume just like that when they receive thousands of resumes. So that is what today's talk is going to be about. In the next 30 to 40 minutes, we are going to discuss what is resume. We are going to redefine it. We are going to redefine what resume is. We are going to take a look at my resume, which got me interviews at Google, Facebook, ADN in Amsterdam, um, Amazon, Kareem, Uber, and many more places. Then we are going into the detailed steps of how you can craft your resume for the jobs that you're going to apply for. Doesn't matter if you're a fresher or an experienced software engineer, we are going to cover points for all of you. Then we are going to look at some of the mistakes that people make while creating resumes. Then finally, we'll summarize using do's and don'ts and some examples. And at the end, we are going to reserve 10 to 15 minutes for some Q&A. So if you guys have any questions right now, or if you have any questions while I'm browsing through the slides and talking, you can just note down your questions and then later on paste them on chat so that we can address them one by one. Okay, let's get started. So let's first see what a resume means. When we are in school or when we are in college, we just understand that resume is sort of our biodata. It is supposed to have information about our educational background and about our background. And we tend to include a lot of information about ourselves. We try to tell the person everything about ourselves in the resume. We include so many details, which is good. But in the current scenario, the problem is there are thousands of people applying for one job opening, And for recruiters, although recruiters do have tools to parse resumes, they have keyword finder rules, they have search tools, they can scan resumes through those tools, but still your resume does get into a recruiter's eyes for the first time. And a recruiter is only going to spend maximum 60 seconds on one resume. So basically, a resume is just a 60-second window to your personality. You have to figure out a way to show your personality on 1 or 2 page resume so that everything about you could be visible to the resumer in just a 60-second glance, because they won't spend more time than that. If you guys have heard about something known as elevator pitch, where it's called an elevator pitch because when you go to big companies and you have an idea and you have to pitch it to your bosses or the senior managers, many times you don't get to have a meeting with them because their calendar is always full. So what do you do whenever you're going to work or coming back from work and you meet them in elevator? You generally have like 1 minute or maybe less than a minute, and you pitch your idea in that elevator. So that is what elevator pitch stands for. So resume is also like an elevator pitch. The person who is scanning your resume has very limited time, and you have to utilize that time so that your resume speaks for itself in that few seconds when a person is scanning through it. It can also be thought of as a creative outcome, like how creatively you can represent your resume, where you condense your journey of 4 years journey of college, or if you're experienced 3 or 4 years experienced, then your 8 year journey of college and work and projects that you have done, how you can condense it in one single concise page to represent whatever you have done in an effective manner. So it is also a showcase of your journey. Besides that, resume should be a reflection of your individuality. Think about this. If all of you belong from JEC and some company visits your campus and all of you have more or less similar looking resumes, those people actually know that this is JEC's template, or this is IIT Bombay's template, or this is IIT Kharagpur's template. And sadly, some templates, like if they are prestigious colleges like IIT or MIT or Harvard, those resumes do get in because the recruiters and the people who are scanning those get to know that okay, this particular resume template belongs to certain college. But if the college is not so great, or if your resume template is not so great, maybe it can end up getting rejected as well. So it is better that you craft your own resume. Take some learnings from senior resumes or your batchmates, but do not try to copy a template. Do not try to follow a template, because you as a person might have something in common, that you have pursued the same degree, you have pursued the same schooling education. But what you do with the 4 years in college, what kind of projects you pursue, what kind of passion you pursue, what kind of companies you intern at, all of that is an individual uh, knowledge or individual content that you have, and you can represent it as individually as you can. So try to be a little creative in your resume, and your resume should like represent your personality. Okay. And as this last point suggests, that it's a stellar and polished version of yourself. So try to be creative and try to give your resume an individual touch. So now let's like look at my resume that I have used in the last year. Which one the one that I have used to get interviews at all the big companies. We're going to break it apart and see one by one the pieces that are important to keep in any of the resumes. So this is the first glance, like this is the top section of my resume. I'm going to share the whole page and the link as well, so you guys can browse through it in detail. But I am just focusing on the first part. So you can keep your name and your contact information and your current title. This can be your current title if you're already working, or this can be like graduate student or undergraduate student if you're still in college, or if you're interning in any company, it can be like intern also. You can keep this information in any format. You can keep it in on the top left, or the top right, or somewhere here, as long as this information is given clearly. Like your name should be in slightly bigger font, your title should be in slightly smaller font than the name, but bigger font than the other things. Okay. And most important, your contact information. If the phone numbers, the email ID, and anything else that you have given is not visible properly to the recruiter, And so that will be the first off point for them if they cannot find your number, or if your number is wrong, or if your email ID is not right. So even if they want to contact you, they have no way. So make sure you add at least two phone numbers, you add email ID. And I have seen some people include their whole full home address. You don't need to include that. That is just taking up space on your resume. Just include your email ID and your one or two phone numbers. Now, given that I have a city as Bengaluru and Dubai, this is something that you can do when you're trying to apply abroad. So when you try to apply abroad, and if they say that if you have written the city as Bengaluru or Jabalpur or Indore or anything, they would think that you're a student and you're applying from outside the country, and they might not consider it. But if you just write the city or country, suppose you're applying in Amsterdam, you can just write Amsterdam, Netherlands, and have a phone number. Either you can have a friend's phone number, or you can, there are many tools to have a foreign phone number. You can just have that phone number. This is just a trick or a hack to get their attention. This way they will at least think that you are reachable inside the country. They don't have to make an international call. And maybe you have some relative in the country, or maybe you're residing in the country and then looking for a job. So at least it will get scanned and it will be inside, and at least you will get a call, right? Now, so the name is covered, the contact information is covered, title is covered. Now, coming to the summary. This is the most important part, and I have seen many people making the mistake of copying this from their friends or their seniors. And I also did the same thing. When I was in college, I was applying for jobs. I also did the same thing. I copied from some senior. Okay. It is okay in one way to do that. But the problem is, this summary is something that actually is going to tell about you to the recruiter. So if they read over and over the same things, like, I want to add value to organization, I'm a skilled person, I'm a hardworking person, I can do this, I can do that, I just want to add value. If they see that generic summary, they think that this resume is copied, or this resume is not so serious. So these two, three lines, use these two, three lines to define yourself. Is somebody speaking? No? Okay. So use this part to define yourself. For example, you can be someone who is a competitive programmer, or you can be someone who is very keen on open source contribution, or you can be someone who likes teaching online, or you are someone who is working in the training and placement cell of your college, or you're maintaining the website of your college. There must be something unique about you that you did throughout your college in 4 years. Include that information. Include one line about your personality. Maybe you are a hardworking person, maybe you're someone who is very good at collaboration. Include that. And then at the end, mention one line about your hobby, which is like slightly related to work, or maybe totally unrelated to work. It should just define your personality. So if I talk about my expertise, so my expertise lies in microservices architecture. So my first line includes that. Then, personality wise, I like solving mathematical problems. Then I have experience of working in teams, and I have experience of working individually as well. And then the last line is that at that time I was pursuing master's, so I included that. That's it. This gives the recruiter a brief idea about who you are. This creates an impression in their mind that who this person is, or what kind of personality this student or this particular engineer is. So this is very important. Use this space wisely. Do not try to copy it. Try to craft your own personality in these two, three sentences. I hope this is clear for everyone. If you have questions, just note down. We will address them. Okay. Moving on to next section. This section is only for experienced folks. This is not for somebody who is a fresher or who has just interned. For experienced folks, the companies want to know what kind of work they are doing in their current organization. So this section could be named anything. It could be named like responsibilities, or it could be named the work I do. Again, since I said you have to use a little creativity, so I went a little creative there, and I just used everyday task include. And I wrote what everyday task I do at three different levels. What do I do at product and business level? What do I do on technical level? And what do I do at management level? So this gives uh, an information that I have worked with people in who are in the product and business domain. I have technical expertise, and I have done some management work as well. So this could be different for different people. If you are an experienced person but you have not done any kind of management work, you can skip this part. If you are a technical person who have done management work but you have not directly worked with product or business, you can skip this part. So you get the idea. You just define what task you do every day and try to put it in categories. Again, this is only for experienced folks. This part, however, work experience is for everyone. So if you are a fresher, your work experience could include your internships. If you have little bit of experience, if you are a fresher and you have interned at one or two companies, this could include your experience of internships, or this could include your project work as well. Now, coming back to in work experience, what do you have to write? So this is a template that you can follow. Again, you can format it in your own way. So what I have done here is I included the title, I included the project, and the most important thing, I included the outcome. So by telling someone that I have worked on so and so project as a team member, they don't get much information about you. Okay, you said that you were working on an analytics project, but what did you do? What was the impact that you created in that organization or in that company? The work that you have done, what was the result of that work or the outcome of that work? So I have included here that what this system used to do, how much data it used to handle. Similarly, I have included outcome in all the projects, right? And one line description, just one line description of what that project was. Okay. I have seen what people do is they write long descriptions and they go into technical details and even tell the tech stack of that project that they have worked on. You don't have to include that information here. Why? Because when your resume gets selected and you go on for an interview, and when you have a behavioral round or you have an HR round, they are going to ask you about that project. At that time, you can explain the tech stack. So basically, just save the space here and tell the impactful things. Now, if you are interning, again, in the case of internship experience, also, you can just write what project you have worked as an intern, whom you have worked with, and what impact did it create. Now, suppose if you are a fresher and you didn't get any internship and you don't have any work experience, so then what do you write? Then you can write your projects here. If you have done any personal projects, if you have done any projects in college, if you have developed a website, a web application, or anything, you can just include that here. Okay, there is a dedicated slide on that, so we will get to it. Don't worry about it. So we have discussed two sections till now: everyday task and work experience. Everyday task can be considered for only experienced people. For freshers, work experience is the one section that is very important. Next is education. Now, this section is important for everyone. Okay, and some people include this section at the top, like just when the resume starts. Some people include it at the bottom. It depends on you. So I will be very honest in this. If you have a really good GPA and if you belong to a very prestigious college, you have to include this section at the top. Why? Because when the recruiter is reading it, they read the name of the college and they read the GPA. If it is a prestigious or a known college and your GPA is good, your resume is in a snap. But if you think that your college is not that well known, or if your GPA is not that great, one, you can shift this education section to mid or at the bottom. Second, including your CGPA is not at all compulsory. If it is good, do include it. Make sure that the recruiter knows that you have been a bright student and you have good grades. But if for some reason your grades are not so great and you were included in other extracurricular activities in college and your grades suffered a bit, do not include your grades. No, there is no one who is asking you how much percentage you had in college. If you have prepared well for the interviews and you perform well, these numbers won't matter. One more thing about this education field is that I have seen people including their school, their IIT JEE rank, their AIEEE rank, their percentages in school, the subjects they have studied in computer science. All those details just occupy space. That information is not very relevant to recruiter wouldn't care if you were a topper in school or what subjects you have studied in computer science. They only want to know what was your major, your branch, what was your college, and how much GPA you have. And even if you skip GPA, it is fine. So just keep this section brief. This information is important, keep it, but try to be as concise as possible. Utilize the space and you don't have to give so much information out. I hope it makes sense. Again, if you have any questions, just note them down. Now, skills. This is a very important part that I want to talk about. And obviously, this has to be in everyone's resume, no matter you're experienced or fresher. The important part for skills is so skills would have, as a computer science engineer, you would have some proficiency in some languages, some frameworks, or some particular subjects or some technologies, right? Include those. Include one or two languages that you have worked on, include the frameworks that you have worked on, okay? And then include a kind of rating. So this is actually a rating system that I have done. So I have rated myself like 7 on 10 on Java, or 6 on 10 on Python, some around 7 on AWS skills, 9 on databases because this is my specialty, and some around again 6 on messaging systems. Why this is necessary is because you can very easily tell someone that, okay, I know Java, I know Python, I know data structures. But if you cannot assess yourself, then that shows something that if even if you're confident about your skills or not. And assessing yourself is very necessary. Either you can just use a number scale of 0 to 10 and you can just rate, like I rate myself on Python 6 on 10, I rate myself on Java 9 on 10, and so on. Usually 9 or 10 is like if you have created a framework in a language, or 10 is like if you have written a book in a language. Usually the developers, those who are good and expert, rate themselves around 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7. And if you have worked with a language and you still want to tell the recruiter that you have some idea of that language, you can just write beginner. Or instead of rating system, what you can do is you can just have a proficiency section. So you can write this language proficiency, beginner level, intermediate level, expert level, and so on, advanced level, and so on. You can do that as well. So make sure that you find a way to rate yourself and show that in your resume. Again, use a rating system or use words or verbs to show your proficiency, but do show your proficiency. Next thing is, do not include a lot of languages. If you are going to write on your resume Java, C, C++, Python, .NET, Golang, this and that, it gives an impression that you have just written it for the sake of it. And if your resume does get selected and it goes in the hand of a senior engineer who is going to interview you, you are going to have a very tough time, because that engineer will catch you and ask you how have you worked in 4 years on 8 languages. So try to be as genuine as possible. Just include 2 or 3 languages that you're really good at. Okay. Okay. Now, this is the most important section, and I think this section can be anything. For me, I have written this as developer community profiles or experience. For you, it can be something like what you have done in college, or if you have done any extra projects, or if you have done any extracurricular activities, or if you were too much into competitive programming. You can use this section to be anything. I have written developer community profiles. You can put anything inside this. You can name it as whatever you want, whatever you see fit, but do include links. Like, so what I have done, I have included Stack Overflow link, some problems that I have solved on Lead Code. Then I used to write some blogs, so I have included a link to my blog, like Medium blog. Then there were some certifications that I did, I included them as well. Then I did some mentoring and public speaking experience. So all these things which I did in developer community other than my job. So I have included that. Now, this section is required because people want to see outside college or outside work how passionate you are about software engineering community or developer community, and what do you do other than that. Do you write blogs? Do you do competitive programming? Do you contribute to open source projects on GitHub? Do you mentor other students? Or there are n number of things that you can do. So whatever you do apart from your regular job or from your college work, do include it. If, for example, you have not done anything other than your college or job, what you can do is you can just take up some courses. Just take up some courses, write a blogs here and there, create a portfolio website, and include that. It is not necessary to have this section, but it is a good to have, and it gives an impression that you are actually passionate about software engineering. And most important thing, having this section or having such links increases the chances of your resume getting noticed by a good fact. So I think that this is important. Obviously, this is not a short thing that if you will have this, your resume will get selected, but it will definitely increase the quality of your resume. I hope this is clear. Okay. I think we have talked about this, but there is an important part that I want to talk about for freshers. So I already said that you have to mention one or two languages and the frameworks you have worked with. For freshers, you can mention two or three subjects that you're good at. So for experienced people, this mentioning subjects is not required, but for freshers, this is required. So you can mention two or three subjects that you scored well while you were in college. Reason for including this is one, again, it gives an impression what subjects you like or what are the domains that you're interested in. Second, if you're really good at DSA or really good at DBMS, and if you write that in your resume, during interview, the interview is going to ask you questions about these subjects. And since you are good at them, you will be able to crack those questions. So basically, whatever you write in your resume is sort of a path to what the interviewer is going to ask you. And hence, do not write buzzwords like ML, AI if you have not worked on it. Again, if you write I have skills, machine learning or data science or artificial intelligence, and if a resume gets selected, you will be questioned on those topics. And if you don't know anything about it, or if you have very superficial knowledge, the interviewer will know in a snap that you have just written it for the sake of it. So it is better to stay genuine, to stay honest, and write only what you're good at. Because from freshers, people don't expect a lot. They just expect that you know basic computer science, you know basic coding, and you have decent problem solving skills. That's all they expect from you. As a fresher, nobody expects you that you are going to write a classification algorithm or a linear regression algorithm in 45 minutes. Nobody is going to expect that from you. So do not fall in the trap of writing buzzwords in your resume. Just make sure that you make a note of it. Okay. Now, work experience section for freshers, as we talked about. For freshers, you don't have any work experience. Maybe you have internships or college projects. You can mention that. Now, suppose if you didn't get any internship, you didn't work on a significant college project, or if you have not done anything, what you can do? You can take out time of 3 to 4 weeks, learn particular framework, learn some app development, build an app, build a web application, build a website, do some side projects for 3 to 4 weeks or maybe 5 weeks, then include that in your work experience. So in spite of you not getting an internship or you not doing any of the other things like competitive programming or open source contribution, still you will have something to show that you have got some hands-on experience with coding. You have got some hands-on experience with real development, and you can mention that in your work experience. You can also include, suppose you have made a web application, or if you have uploaded a app on app store, you can include the links to those. So if you do that, at least the recruiters will get an idea that okay, in spite of not getting an internship, you at least did something, you had some side projects. Okay. And make sure the order of this work experience or projects is like newest to oldest. Just this is just a small detail, but it should be there. So whatever in your resume is there, it should be like the latest thing should be at the top and the oldest thing should be at the bottom. Okay. We talked about this also, but I am just this is just for like a repetition that your order should be from newest to oldest. So if suppose for me I have done masters, so my masters will be on top and then my bachelor's will be on bottom, and if I want to mention my school education, I can mention that at the bottom. Again, mention GPA if it is good, mention your college and major. This is compulsory, this you have to do anyway. So mention school and grades if great, and don't mention subjects and respective subject grades like I've got A in DSA or B in DBMS. That kind of detail is not needed. It just occupies a space on the resume. Okay. Now, individuality for freshers. Again, what you can do as a fresher. Some people are really good at competitive coding. They participate in different competitions and gain certain ranks. Some people have their own personal projects where they try out things and build something from their college dorms. You can have a portfolio website. Having a portfolio website can really help you and it can go a long way. What you can have on your portfolio website is you can just write your experience of college. You can put your personal projects there. You can include your GitHub links on that portfolio. You can put links to the projects that you have done. And whatever information, whatever you have done as a person in college, you can put that on your portfolio website. Basically, portfolio website could be thought of as an extended version of your resume. So whatever you cannot put in your resume, you can put in on your portfolio website. And since you're a CS engineer, it gives a good impression that you know how to code up a website. And these days, it's not that difficult. Also, there are free tools like Wix, etc., which can get your website up and running in few minutes. And if you don't want to go to Wix or may like spend money, you can just have a GitHub.io page that also helps you to create a portfolio website. If you don't know, I can share the links, or you can just Google, you'll get to know. Okay. If you have different coding platform profiles like HackerRank or HackerEarth or CodeChef or Project Euler, there are so many coding platforms. If you have any profile on them, if you have solved a good deal of questions, include that. That actually is a very good point that people look at, and they will scan your resume and get you in. Again, just because having a good coding platform profile is a way to get your resume selected doesn't mean that you will go today and start solving 100 questions. You should have been doing that for past few months. But if suppose you are at a point that your third year is ending or your fourth year is ending and you want to build a coding platform profile, then at least give yourself 6 months. For 3 to 4 months or 6 months, solve problems, build a profile, and then send out your resume. What I'm trying to say is that if you just start solving questions today and you copy paste a code from here and there and build your profile in 20 days and then share it, you're going to get caught. So don't do that. And if you have some college level competitions, like some colleges have a coding fest, hackathons, etc., if you have participated in any kind of those things, you can include that as well in your individuality section. So now we have seen some sections: education, work experience, individuality, your skills, and your introduction. So these 3 4 sections are the basics of a resume. This is all you have to have. And if you include proper information under each section, you are good to go. It's just include it properly. Mention your achievements, mention your projects, or mention your skills properly. Like mention skills with the ratings, mention work experience with outcomes, mention individuality with proper links to the projects or the work that you have done. That information is good enough to give someone an idea about who you are. Okay. Now, extracurricular activities. I have seen some people include extracurricular activities, just like participated in this game, participated in that game, went here, went there. No, the intention of having extracurricular activities on your resume is people want to know, okay, we got your work experience, we got your skills, we got your individual software developer community exposure also. What do you do now as a person outside being a software engineer? Who you studied computer science, you want to be a software engineer, but outside that, who you are? You someone who plays chess? Are you someone who is interested in football? Are you someone who likes to go mountain hiking? Are you someone who enjoys swimming? Are you someone who just likes cooking? So just tell them that side of yours. There must be something. If you don't do any of these things, if you just like traveling, or if you just like socializing, write that too, that on weekends I like socializing, I like going out with my friends. If you're an introvert kind of person, you can just tell them, on weekends I just like to curl up in my balcony with my book and chai. Just be genuine. Just who you are, just mention that in 1 or 2 lines. Why? Because people know that all the engineers on their team are not going to be the same. Some engineers would be extroverts, some would be introverts, some would be ambiverts. They all will have different hobbies and they all will have different personalities. So it is okay to tell who you are, rather than following a trend or rather than writing something which you are not. Then again, there are some people who do not have a life outside developing and outside coding. They do not do anything else. They just code all the time. They just get locked up in their room and they are all about computer science. If you are someone like that, write that. Just write, I like coding all the time. That's it. I do not have any hobbies. What impression it will give to the recruiter? Okay, this person's passion, profession, everything is software engineering, and that is okay too. It is just your personality. There is no right or wrong answer here. It's just who you are. Okay. Now, this is the most important thing. So we have decided what are the sections that are important in your resume, what kind of information you have to have in those sections. Now, next point is aesthetics. If your resume has mixed fonts, like the name is in a different Times New Roman, the content is in Arial, and some other things are in different fonts, it is not going to fly. Have one font, just one font all throughout the resume. You can have different font sizes, you can have bold or underlined stuff. but nothing more than that. Okay. Do not use different fonts. Then grammar. Please run a grammar check on your resume. Either ask a friend to read it, or just run a free grammar tool, or just like get it reviewed by someone. Why? Because the moment someone reads a grammatical mistake, they are off. They are like, okay, you have not put enough effort in your resume to even correct a grammatical mistake. Although as software engineers and CS majors, you would think that how does it matter? I write very good code. I am very good at problem solving. I can really add value to the company. How does it matter if I have missed an N or missed the? It doesn't matter. It is important because communication skills are key. Once you enter the industry, you will get to know how important communication skills are. I am not lying. People's promotion get blocked, or they do not get promoted for the reason that they don't communicate well. They are very good coders, they are very good software engineers, but they are not good at communication. So this is an important point. Even your resume is read by a recruiter or another engineer who is going to interview you, grammatical mistakes are a big red flag. So make sure that there are no spelling and grammatical mistakes. Then keywords is important. So instead of writing that I coded this app, right, I designed and developed this application. Instead of writing that I worked on so and so project while I interned at Samsung, right, actively contributed to certain projects. So there is a word bank of such keywords where you use keywords like accomplished, reduced, performed, integrated, designed, decreased, deployed, all these things, all these keywords, if you use them properly while describing your work experience, your skills and projects, it gives a good impression that you're able to communicate. Again, what these words do. If you include a word like I have contributed, it just one word is giving a lot of information. When you write contributed, it gives an information that you were working on a team and you were an important part of the team and you have done some work as part of that team. Just that. If you write integrated, it gives an information that you worked on 2 3 different systems and you worked on the integration of that system, and so on. I hope this is clear. If you have any questions with this keywords part, just note down and let me know when we discuss Q&As. And then okay, so this last point is examples in resume. So when I am going to show you whole resume, I'll show how these keywords can be used. Okay, so we discussed the technicality, the sections that you should have. We discussed the aesthetic aspects. Now the emotional aspects. The language of the resume as a whole plays a very important role. I don't know if you guys have used a tool called Grammarly. If you guys have used it, when you start typing something, there is a emoticon that shows at the bottom. If you're writing something angrily, it will show an angry emoticon. If you're writing something friendly, it will show a friendly thing, friendly emoticon. If you're writing something very formal, it will show a emoticon with a specs and something. So basically, that tool, that Grammarly tool, tries to detect what is the emotion of the text that you're writing. Same thing applies to the language of your resume also. Whatever the kind of language, the way you articulate information about you, that could say a lot about you, how you are as a person. So you can be humble or you can be egoistic. So if we try to look at it, humble, say you're very humble, it is 0, and you're very egoistic, it is 10. So example of humble could be something like, I want to work with smarter engineers. I want to work with people who are smarter than me. I will do anything to be a proven value to be for a company. I want to add value to the company, and so on. So, in a way, if you're saying something like, "Please consider me. I will work very hard," that is kind of humble. Egoistic, on the other hand, is something like if you say, I had been a topper throughout, and if you include all the ranks from all the examinations and all the examination scores, and you write, I have never lost a badminton game. I have been scoring rank 1 in code chef competitions for last 5 years. If you use that kind of language, that comes out to be as a little egoistic and a little cocky, again, which is not appreciated. Companies these days try to hire people who are matured individuals, who do not try to rub their success in others' faces, because at the end of the day, you are going to be working in a team. You're going to be working with many other people. So your emotional behavior and how you see yourself, how you project yourself in front of others is very important. If you're too humble, the problem will be you will be walked over by other people in the company. If you're too egoistic, then it will be difficult for others to work with you. So what you have to do is you have to be somewhere in between. Draw a line, draw a balance. Like, don't be too humble. Be confident to show your skills. Be confident to mention something in resume which you're proud of. For example, if you have a 4 on 4 GPA, write you have a 4 on 4 GPA. But do not write language like I have a perfect GPA. That is egoistic. Instead, just write this college, this branch, GPA 4 on 4. This is very logical and very objective. This doesn't include any kind of egoistic behavior. Some example, as I was discussing, that humble is want to work with smarter people, egoistic is has been a topper throughout. Now how can you create a balance between these two? You can just write like this: I can work well with teams, I have a stellar individual contributor record as well. That's it. This shows that you know how to articulate and you know how to put your emotions in a proper manner in front of others. Okay, now let's talk about what are the mistakes that people make, which makes their resumes to go down a black hole, and you just apply to companies and you never hear back. What happens? What happens wrong with those resumes that you never hear back? If you have a 4 page resume, there is very less chance anybody is going to read it. If a company is very desperate to hire engineers, they are not getting good engineers. In that case, they might spend some time to look at a 3 or 4 page resume. But in general cases, in bigger companies like Amazon, Google, FANG companies, nobody will read a 4 page resume. Some recruiters are very helpful and humble to even tell you this information, that if you're sending a resume, please cut it down to 1 or 2 pages only and then send it. So do not write long resumes. Concise, short resumes. Then, copying templates from others. Do not copy templates. Have your own template. For example, I used a tool called Visual CV to create my resume. There are multiple tools like that. Choose any tool. Choose any style. Choose your colors. Choose your font style. Don't depend on others for your template. Grammatical mistakes we discussed. Different font styles and sizes. Again, if there are grammatical mistakes, spelling mistakes, font sizes are all over the place, it is not properly aligned. I have seen resumes which are not properly aligned. One bullet point is on the left, one bullet point is on the right. That also happens. Don't do that. Bad ordering of sections. So if you put your skills on the top, education at the bottom, work experience at the very end, extracurricular activities at the top, if you don't order your sections well, it is going to be a problem. So ideal ordering is your summary, your work experience, your skills, and your education. If you're a fresher, put education on the top, then work experience, then skills. So just take care of the ordering. Okay, some people use too many colors or diagrams. So for example, for experienced engineers, this is a question that they are asked in the interview. For example, for myself, I have 8 years of experience, so I will definitely be asked this question: how much time do you spend coding and how much time do you spend doing other tasks? Other tasks include mentoring juniors, management, talking to product, handling communications, handling project management, being on call. So many things are there other than coding. So for me, it makes sense that I make a pie chart and I say that 40% time coding, 20% time management, rest 40% time design and product. I can write that. But do not overuse those diagrams. It will not make sense for a fresher. Suppose you looked at my resume, you saw, okay, she has put a pie chart like this, so and you are a fresher, you also copy that same template and you divide your pie chart writing I do coding in so much time and I play guitar in so much time and I travel. No, it is not useful for anyone. So choose wisely. Take inspiration from others resumes. That's a very good thing to do. Take inspiration, try to craft your own resume and then add creativity to it, but do not directly copy paste. Okay, and don't write too much text and descriptions. As I explained, for your project, don't go into too much technical details of the project. Just try to describe your projects and work skills in just one liners. When you're interviewing, at that time you will be asked questions on that and you can answer properly, but do not include too much text. Now finally we will just discuss do's and don'ts, which we have already discussed, but I'm just summarizing this so that you are able to retain this properly. First advice: be genuine. Do not lie. Do not brag. Do not be too humble. And do not be desperate. Be genuine. Just be who you are. Okay. Keep aesthetics things in place. Get fonts and formats in place. Get a friend or senior to review. It is always a good idea to get your resume reviewed. Run a spelling and grammar check. Now, this is very important. You should have multiple versions of your resume. You can modify your resume as per companies, countries, job roles. For example, everywhere but India, a cover letter is required. Everywhere a cover letter is required. So when I applied in Amsterdam, when I applied in Dublin, when I applied in Dubai, I was requested to send a cover letter. So cover letter just includes 3 or 4 lines about me and why I want to apply for that job and why I would be a good fit for that job. This is not something which might be required for freshers, but at least do your research, do your background check for whichever company you're applying. Does that company needs a cover letter? If yes, what information do they need in a cover letter? Maybe some companies would just ask your background. Some companies would ask your background and would also ask you that why you want to relocate to their country, why do you want to apply for that particular position, and so on. Some companies again need photographs. So this I came to know when I applied in Dubai, that a photograph is necessary and a professional photograph is necessary. So I cannot just pick a photo from a vacation and put it. I have to have a professional, like passport photograph to put on my resume. Phone numbers, as I discussed, if you're applying outside India, if you're applying inside India, have 2 or 3 phone numbers, so that if your one phone number is not there, they can reach you on another one. If you're applying outside India, make sure to have a like a alias phone number of that country. Again, be concise yet expressive. Express yourself, be assertive, be creative, but try to do that in a short, concise manner. And having a portfolio website, will never hurt. It is only going to help you. It is going to, and when you maintain that website over years, you will get to know how you yourself have evolved as an engineer over years. So have a portfolio website. It's really good thing to have. Don'ts, again, do not copy, do not lie, don't go fall into the trap of fancy colors and diagrams. Keep it simple, stupid. We all know the KISS principle. Yes, do not try to fit in job role and description. If you are a software engineer, if you have worked only on DS and algorithms and you are a good Android developer or a good iOS developer, do not apply for a position of a data science engineer. If you have not done anything in data science role, do not modify your resume and throw in some skills and then try to fit in their job role and description. Find another job. Find another job which suits your skills. So don't try to do vice versa, like fit yourself into someone's job role and description. Don't do that. Again, do not fall in trap of buzzwords. Do not just include information that everyone is including for the sake of it. If there is any single point in your resume which you cannot talk about or which you cannot answer about, it is going to be a problem. So only include things that you want to talk about. For example, you did a project in college and you did not do much of the work. Your teammates did all the work. You were just there for the sake of it. Do not include that project, because if you will include it, you will the interviewer is going to ask you questions about it, and if you cannot answer, it will be a problem. Although if you can answer, if you're prepared, include it. But again, do not include something which you cannot talk about. And then at last, I have seen this with so many freshers. Do not sound or look desperate. Do not use language that makes the recruiter think that you're begging for the job. No. You have studied for 4 years. You have a degree in a good major. Today or tomorrow. If not today, then after 6 months. If not after 6 months, then in a year. You will get a job. You will get what you deserve. You will get the results of your hard work. But do not sound desperate. Do not beg for a job. If you do that, that just reduces your value in the eyes of recruiter. That is one negative point. Second negative point is, if you do get selected, they know that you were desperate for the job and you won't be able to negotiate for a salary. On the other hand, if you are just be calm about it, if you just say, okay, here is my resume, please have a look and let me know. If you just say this, it will be great. If you get accepted and if you get an offer, you can easily negotiate. You can easily say, no, this is not going to do it. I need 10% more than this. I need 20% more than this. It is just like going to a shop and buying something. If you put a finger on something and you're too excited about it, the shopkeeper is not going to negotiate. He or she will charge whatever they want to charge because they know that you're desperate for that thing. This happens in real world also. Do not look desperate for a job. Respect yourself, respect your skills, and believe in hard work. Okay, I think I went a little inspirational talk there. Let's get back. Okay, now I want to show you the examples of my own resumes. So let me show you my latest resume. Just look at the resume, the look and feel, how it looks. I'll go into the detail, but before that, look at my very first resume. Look at this. I have included my hostel's address, and I have included 100 skills here, and I have included all the percentage of all the semesters, and my school percentage and experience. Okay, this is good. Projects is good, and awards and achievements of like district level rank award. Nobody cares about this. They don't care what I was doing when I was in school. Okay, unless and until it's a very very good thing. Okay, this is head of souvenir committee for TEDx JC. This is something good. This you can include. Participated in the triple ITDM workshop. This is something good that could be included, but rest of this information is needless. Similarly, operating systems, who like this is not something which anybody cares about. What kind of OS you can work on. Okay, but why this happened? Because I copied, just I copied from, I think, my friends or maybe seniors. So some information is good, but other information is just plain template. Okay, also look at this. Seeking a position where analytical abilities, technical skills, and professional experience will add value. Everybody writes this. Everybody writes this. Okay, this is not something that you should write. Again, create your own version. Write who you are. So this was the latest resume. Sorry, this is the oldest resume, and this is the latest resume. Now this tells something about who I am. We have already gone through it, but just to give you an idea. Then this section is because I have certain years of experience. Then this is the work experience. So I talked about keywords. Okay, so now pay attention to the keywords I have written. Designed and developed. Okay, designed and developed. Again, designed and developed. Then developed and shipped. This shows that I was not an architect on that team. I was just a developer. Design and architected. Here I was an architect in that role. And with every project, there is an outcome. There is a proper outcome. Serves millions of mobile devices every day. Secured user experience. Company acquired multiple clients after successful rollout of this product. So you can easily know what was the outcome of the project that you have contributed to in internship or at work. So you can include the outcome. Then for previous companies, yes, if you have worked for multiple companies, just include the work experience of your latest company. For the previous companies, they will ask you in the interview. So you don't need to mention that. Again, education, I had good CGPAs, thank God. So I have included those. If I wouldn't have, if I would have like lesser CGPAs, I might not have included those. Now you can see, since I have experience, I have skipped the school education completely from here. And then this is the skill sections, as I told you, and this is my individuality section, so you can include this as well. So now I am not saying that follow this template. I am saying take inspiration from this template and then craft your own resume. Have your own style, have your own fonts, have your own language. Take points, take positive points, and take some inspiration, and then create your own resumes. And then coming back to this. Okay. Now, last point. I know that this time is difficult for everyone. We are in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody is keen to have a job. There are multiple job openings, but still people's resumes, people's profiles are not getting selected. They are not getting jobs. But do not worry, because sooner or later it will happen. I would just say enjoy the process, build some projects, enjoy, like do some boot camps, enjoy this part, and sooner or later you will have a job, because this time is also golden and precious. If there are people who are like working professional here, they know that once you start working, you have whole another set of problems. You have managers and product managers and deliveries and deadlines, and your life is going to get difficult from here. So just enjoy the process, learn, share, create resumes, good resumes, apply for jobs. If it happens, very good. If it doesn't happen, just it is another stepping stone to your success. It is one step closer. Just forget about it within a day or two. Have a beer, just forget about it, and then move on the next day, apply to another company.